know and love Felicia, and thank you so much for coming. My name is Laura Tyree, if you don't know me, and this is one of my children. I love her very much, and many people in here love her too. I'm glad that you're here. So tonight, I am so pleased to announce the launch of my friend's beautiful book, Uncommon Faith. Felicia McQuaid, I have to tell you how I met Felicia because it's such a great story, and some of you have heard it. I'm going to tell you anyway. So I came to Florida in 2000, and I started classes in the community center. And in the community center, I was a very rigid teacher back then. So we started class, the doors closed, and I started teaching. And behind me, I hear the doors open, and then I hear this snap of a mat, and I'm like, I wheel around, and I'm like, and there's this girl, and she is in Downward Facing Dog, and she is in Downward Facing Dog. And I was like, I guess she's staying. And she did stay, and she kept staying, and she became a teacher, and she's been a huge part of Dragonfly for many years, 15 years, you guys. It's so amazing, isn't it amazing? I know, I just want to share this one. That is amazing. And if I ever can't find Felicia because she's kind of sneaky, I always know I can just look right in here. And I know that's true for many people in this room. So Uncommon Faith it was so amazing watching this book be born in my friend Felicia. It is a story of her very difficult past and upbringing, and how she discovered an uncommon faith inside of herself, that it was there all along. It's really beautiful, and when you read this book, and everybody in here has to get the book and read it, it's so phenomenal. You're going to read it and go, oh, I see some of me in this book. Oh, I have that uncommon faith in me as well. It is so inspiring and so uplifting, so moving. You will laugh, you will cry, you will get mad, like the whole book is so amazing. And she's coming to talk about it, don't worry, she's coming. Before she shows up, her friend and beautiful country singer, Joanna Cotton, is going to perform for us. And you guys, I'm telling you, you got to remember this, because this lady is going all the way to the top. I have never heard a more beautiful vocalist in my life. Trained at Juilliard, powerhouse, such an infectious laugh. Like if she laughs, you're going to be blessed by her laughter. She's going to come and sing some beautiful songs for us. And this place is going to absorb it all. Once again, amazing people at the studio. And all of you too are blessing her so much. Let me check my notes. Yep, that was it. I said everything, yay! So without further ado, I'm so grateful to present Joanna Cotton and our dear friend Felicia McQuaid.
In the darkness before the dawn, sometimes I feel like I can't go on. But then as the day goes along, out comes the sun. It gives me a ray of hope, 'cause deep in my heart I know that once it takes a hold of my soul, a change gonna come. 'Cause when that feeling washes over me, it gives me the strength to believe that I can do and be who I need to be. Every day I find a way to keep my faith. When nothing is like it It's my saving grace. Every day I keep my faith. I got sick, and sometimes I think they say you can die of a broken heart, and a lot of that was that for me. And I broke out in hives. I had chronic hives, and it was an autoimmune disease, and nobody could tell me. I've been to 10,000 doctors and had blood drawn every 2 weeks for 3.5 years. This went on. This was the third time in my life that this had happened to me. This was the longest period of time that I had gone without them shutting off, and I was desperate. And sorry, this is actually the first time I've told this story out in public, so it's kind of hard for me to talk about sometimes. But
this is I love her song because this is exactly, don't we all know what it's like to be stuck in the dark and be like wondering when things are going to turn around and not having any guarantee that it's going to, and there's something inside of us that says, you got to know that this is going to turn around somewhere, and we don't have any control over how long or when that's going to happen, because there's so much that is happening during that. Like, even for us, we're going through these own experiences, and all of this is going on, and everything has such a purpose, and that's my understanding of faith, and that really is what this is about, is to know that no matter where that you are, the darkest before the dawn, right? And if you lose faith, you lose hope that there's going to be feeling better, right? I mean, for all of us, we've been through trials where we're thinking, I'm never going to come out of this. I went through my own. I hit my wall at in my late 20s, and full-on pain in my body, debilitating pain, and I couldn't do anything, and I was so lost, and I was lost in all the things that I was carrying, and I lost sight of my faith at that point. So when I met Joanna, she was in a low place. She was in that low place, but there was something really beautiful about Joanna, is that there's a spirit in her that cannot be denied. And that's what I knew. When she came to me and they were saying, like, she's telling me, what's this, what is it called, right? What is it called? And there was no label, because it was the symptom of not living her purpose. Right? She was resigning that maybe she wasn't going to sing. So she came in, and moving this energy out of her body, all it did is move it out of the way so she could get back in connection with what she was meant to do. Because I really feel like a lot of us, when we are not living and doing what we're meant to do, there's a little part of us inside that's just struggling. It's just like wanting out so much. And faith is that, I say faith is that voice inside of you that is always encouraging you. Right? That one that sneaks through. Like, even in that breakdown for me, that one that was sneaking through, all the fears are saying, give up, and saying, I can't. And that one little voice that snuck through and said, have faith. And it doesn't mean that there's not going to be doubt, and it doesn't mean there's not going to be fear, and it doesn't mean there's not going to be any of that. But when you connect to faith, it overrides any of that. It says, okay, regardless of the doubt, regardless of this thing, there is something else that's meant to come.
And so I left Nashville in the summer, in July, and I had restored a little Airstream, and I had it by the beach, and I came and I just said, it's my time to heal, and I can't go back there until I'm better. And I knew at this point I'd had an opportunity that I thought I was going to be going out on this major tour in the fall, but I hadn't, signed the contract or done anything in negotiations at that point. But it was going to be a very big tour, and I knew it was coming, but I also knew I couldn't get on a tour bus, and I couldn't go live this life being sick. And so I came down, I started working with Felicia, and 8 weeks later, and I had done several things. I'd made some dietary changes. I did some acupuncture with Dr. Wu here in the area, and Felicia was just helping me energetically, and I'd never heard of this type of healing. But at that point, you know, when you've scratched your skin off for 3.5 years, you'll do anything.
A lot of people can relate to that have worked with me, right?
Yeah,
A lot of you guys come to me and are like, I don't know, but actually you can help me.
Yeah, Julie Brown was like, you need to go see this woman. I'm like, well, what'd she do? And she's like, well, it's this energy. I'm like, well, what does that mean?
Because the work with me requires a level of faith, because I can't tell you that I'm going to heal your sickness, but I can tell you this energy, and the guys over here can test it. We're all being pushed past our comfort zones. We're being asked to do stuff we've never done. I've never written a book. We've been asked to come and do all these great things and push out, and it's really saying, okay, what are you going to do? Here's your purpose right before you. And even for you guys, I'm encouraging you now, when you go into this, think about what it is that you want in your life, what it is that you want. And somebody was saying, what is the it? And I think the it is so individual. For some of us, the it is like the Grammys, and for some of us, the it is like a happy family, right? Or to be out of pain, or to feel calm, whatever the it is. But you have to have the faith that that is possible, and that's what makes it possible. Faith is first. That's what's different in when you understand faith. You got to have that first, and then the results come. What do we want? We want the result, the guaranteed. We want to know what the outcome's going to be before we actually will do anything. And faith says you got to be willing to go leap out first, and then see what happens. And don't think your purpose is separate from what you've been through. That, what you've been through, is developing what you need to live on purpose. Because this is another thing. To live on purpose, right, requires a dedication and a commitment. It does. It requires faith. It requires stepping out of what you know. It requires doing things that you may not think you can. And when you do it, right, you start getting this confidence in yourself. Look, I was able to do that. I was able to do that. Okay, if I'm able to do that, I'm able to do that. And that's, that's the first step. If you can't think about faith as a big concept, start having faith in your own abilities. Start talking, listening to that voice that's encouraging you, rather than the other one that's making you run away.
I would say half of life is showing up. Well, about 100% of songwriting is showing up, because you don't ever know what you're going to come up with. And if you don't show up in a room with co-writers, you're not going to get anything most of the time. Some people do sit there and write by themselves, but I like to collaborate with other people. And I had an opportunity to go in and write with Melissa Manchester. And Melissa, some people may know Melissa, but she had a huge pop career in the 80s, and she worked with Clive Davis, and she was she was a huge pop star. So I could have chosen that day to not show up because I was intimidated, because I didn't move to Nashville to write songs. I studied voice, and that's what I did. I was a singer, and I am a singer, and I didn't, think I had that in me to write songs. So every time all these big co-writes would come up with me, I would freak out thinking, okay, I just have to talk myself, I have to get there. I just have to get in the room. Because once I got in the room, a song would always come. And this was a point in time in my life that I had asked off my record label, and I had watched The Color Purple for the first time in my life, and I was like, it's an old movie. I had it on VHS. Like, who even has that anymore? And I happened to have this VHS thing that I hooked up, and it worked. And I watched this movie, and I came in the next day with Melissa and a guy named Greg Barnhill, and I said, this is what I feel like. I'm asking off this record label. I have no idea where I'm going. I don't know if there's going to be another record deal for me around the corner or what's going on. But, I have put everything I have into my art and getting this released. And they're not releasing it. I have got to get out of this situation. I can't just stay here stagnant. So I was just reminded when Whoopi Goldberg, that man in that movie beat her all the way through it. And at the very end of that movie, she stood up, and I call it the Whoopi three finger, because she went, it was like, I'm done with you, and I'm getting in this car. And he acted like he was going to chase after her, and she got in that car, and she never came back, and that man never beat her another day in her life. And so I started talking about how powerful that moment of that movie was for me, and we wrote this song called I Know Who I Am. And the next thing I know, I didn't really think anything about it. And Melissa was so excited about this song. And I said, okay, well, let's go in and do a demo on it. We did a piano vocal. It cost us $50. The next thing I know, my publishing company's calling me saying, yeah, you might want to call me back. I know you're really busy, Joanna, but you might want to know that Beyonce just cut your song. Yeah, Mama might want to know that. But these are the ups and downs of the music industry. She, at that point in time, the song is called I Know Who I Am, and we kept thinking, it's going to be on the record, it's going to be on the record, it's going to be on the record. And then she decided that she was Sasha Fierce. I don't know if you guys remember that record, but that was what she was going to come out with. And they kept saying, okay, there's going to be a turn. There's a turn that's happened in this record. We didn't actually know that the song did not make the record until it came out on iTunes. So it was a very devastating day for us as songwriters. But I had faith in this song because I knew the message was something that was going to be heard. And the next thing I knew, they called me and said, Leona Lewis wants to cut this song. They are going to put it in this movie for colored girls, which Whoopi Goldberg was in. I got to go sit in the movie theater and watch my name roll up on the big screen. They spelled it right. Unbelievable. I actually collected the royalties on it and got to actually make some money in the music industry for a change. And I knew that song wasn't done yet. And so the next thing I know, they called me and said, hey, Oprah's going to use this song on her network. And it's going to run every time there's a commercial for the movie The Butler. So it was used in that. And then I just got a call the other day that they're going to honor Felicia Rashad on the BET Awards, and this song is going to be playing. So This song is not dead yet, and it will keep on going. It's a message that needs to be heard. And so, but that's, that is the power of faith. If I hadn't shown up in that room that day, if I had let myself be intimidated by Melissa and thinking that maybe she had a stronger gift than I did, that, I just had to be open to show up, and that's what I got out of it that day. So I would like to share it with you. It's called I Know Who I Am.
They say you never see it coming, all the tiny little breaks, but somewhere out beyond all reason, you keep on giving what it takes. I never thought of running, I was busy carrying the load. Had the strength enough to take it, but not enough to let it go. It's a long time coming down a broken road, but finally I can feel without fearing, cry without the pain, stand up and love me without any shame. It might have been a rough way to learn it and a hard place to land, but the one thing I'm sure of now is I know who I am. Woo! Yeah. Now if somebody would have told me there was a better place to be, in my quiet desperation, it was too hard to believe. I guess you gotta go the distance to know just when enough's enough. Won't let nobody take it from me, 'cause I know what I'm made of. And there's nothing I can't rise above. Oh, and finally I can feel without fearing, cry without the pain, stand up and love me without any shame. It might have been a rough way to learn it and a hard place to land, but the one thing I'm sure of now is I know who I am. A woman who's worthy. I am a woman deserving whatever it is. I can take it, whatever it takes. I'm gonna make it, yeah.
stand up and love me without any shame. It might have been a rough way to learn it and a hard place to land, but the one thing I'm sure of now, oh, and I absolutely have no doubt, yeah, I know who I am. Yeah, I know who I am. I know who I am.